welcome to Inside the Mind of, a interview series I do with people in the wrestling community, people I'm friends with, people who inspire me. Joined with me, he is the co-founder of the SmackedRaw podcast. He is the host of The Rewind, and as our friend Mr. Matt Ritter has put it, my former boss, Kyle Tyson. How are you?
Hey, Katie, what's up, man?
I mean, it's kind of true.
Yeah. Mighty brave of you to bring me on. Although I just realized you just told me it's not live, so even if I tried to sabotage this, no one would ever see it. So
Wouldn't let you.
I guess I'm forced to behave.
I mean, I don't ask for a lot. Just to behave, it's fine.
I've missed you, Katie.
Miss you too. So for those who do not know, oh god, about like 2 years ago now, I just put out a tweet and I was like, I'm just trying to podcast, or I want to be on a podcast. And then through different channels, I meet Kyle. I get added to the Smacked Raw, not to be confused with Smacking It Raw, 2 different brands, 2 different shows. And then I was basically your right-hand man for like a solid year.
Mm-hmm. You were the Jamie to my Joe Rogan.
Yes. Lots of shenanigans that happen. Lots of co-hosts, lots of different people. Kevin will always be the biggest pain in my ass because of that show.
I just started. I just started interacting with Kevin more. I've rebooted the old Discord channel. I threw a fresh coat of paint on it.
Okay.
I'm slowly chipping away at getting people involved, and Kevin is one of the more active people helping make it, to interact with. And it's been pleasant. I'll say that it's been pleasant.
Kevin was something. To put it lightly, Kevin was something to work with. I'm happy towards the end he finally got a mic that would mute, so I didn't have to hear him hack up a lung every day, every show he did. But fun times. But now, obviously, I got this. Smacked Raw's got a whole, some more people, some new things going on. Before we get into the questions, you want to just, talk about everything now? Or you can do it at the end. It's completely up to you.
No, I'll get it out of the way now. Just because I don't I think it's easier to do it in the beginning instead of, a really long, drawn-out exit.
Mm-hmm.
So Smacked Raw is a channel for a collection of podcasts. Currently, we have 3 shows. We have my show, The Rewind, with RN. We do it every Sunday. Essentially, me and RN just find the hot topics of the pro wrestling world over the last week. We'll cover them, and then, we'll actually talk about in-ring stuff if there's any captivating stories or wrestlers. So we just pretty much talk about what's going on, and it's very opinion-based. Me and RN just shoot the breeze and talk about it. Bama's still doing his variety shows. He's doing one of the more fun ones Bama's doing is This or That. It's a plain title, but it's a simple but fun concept. Bama just kind of like, how I do UWO, and I'll bring up a tweet and people will either dunk on it or praise it. Mm-hmm. Bama will bring up a question he'll take 2 comparisons. Let's just say The Rock or Stone Cold. Okay. And then people will talk about which they prefer. Very simple, but it's been a lot of fun. So his variety shows with the check your temperature and this or that is always fun. And then we just brought on Will for Botch Spots and Chair Shots. And Will has been a more consistent interviewer. He's been bringing on a ton of people doing wrestling interviews. He also does have a podcast that he does with his friend Bobby. They're more inclined towards the golden era of pro wrestling. They're kind of like a throwback, but Will is very interview heavy, and we actually, I believe it is next Tuesday, which God, I'm gonna kick myself if I'm wrong. I want to say it is the 3rd. Actually, it might be my birthday. I don't know. Hopefully I'm right, but we're bringing on Buff Bagwell. We're gonna have Buff's coming on. Will says it's gonna be unrestricted. Buff has already said that he's willing to go unfiltered, raw, whatever buzzwords you want to use.
Nice.
the buff will bring the stuff on the botch spots and chair shots. So we're super stoked. It's kind of what we got going on. Like I said, it's kind of like a Smacked Raw. Like I said, it's like a channel. When you turn the TV, you turn on channel Smacked Raw, and then we have a list of programs that you can watch on that channel. Yeah. We got youtube.com/SmackedRawPodcast, and then our live stuff's on twitch.tv/SmackedRaw.
I guarantee I could probably still do the fucking pitch at the end because I had to do it so much. I used to have like a note that like I stopped using after a while. I was like twitch.tv/SmackedRawPodcast and @SmackedRawPod, and it just became like clockwork. Anytime I went on a show, I was like, I got it. I have to do all my own now, and I forget them half the time. It's terrible. But Will's nice people. He hit me up not that long ago to do something in May. So, kind of like the conversations thing he did with Matt. Mm-hmm. He's going to bring me on and we're going to do the same thing. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, Will's good people, man. He really is.
Yeah. I like Will. He's nice. And he hit me up too, and I was like, well, thank you for like asking me to be on it. Of course. I like conversations where I don't have to host. Yeah. It's great.
Exactly. That's why I've been dying to come on here, man. I love doing shows, especially when the only work I got to do is just show up.
All you got to do is show up, be honest, and answer some questions.
I think I can handle that.
I think you can handle it. And, like, we start with an easy one, and I always tell people this, too. If there's a question that you don't want to answer, you can basically tell me to fuck off, and you don't have to answer it. Or you don't have to explain why. I give everyone the option, so, like I said, you're the co-founder of Smacked Raw. How did you get your start into podcasting?
You know what's crazy is I just had my 4-year anniversary for the pilot. I knew I always wanted to do a podcast. I actually shot a pilot in 2018 and I completely forgot about it. I bought all my audio equipment. I bought this mic that you see. I have a whole bunch of other stuff like lapel mics, long extension cables. I don't know, like stuff I assumed you needed for a show.
Yeah.
I honestly use like a fraction of it. I wanted to be able to talk pro wrestling, and the person didn't work out. The dynamic we had just wasn't a flow. And he was like, look, man, I'm not really into pro wrestling like you are. Just wanted to help you out. So I put it all on the shelf, and then I was on Twitter about a little more than a year later. We're actually rolling up on our 3-year anniversary in May. I was on Twitter. I was probably drunk, and I was browsing Twitter, and like the like, I don't know if you ever seen it. This is gonna show my age, but the old like Reese Cups commercials. They used to be like there'd be some type of accident and they'd be like, oh, you got your peanut butter in my chocolate, and then the other person's like, you got your chocolate in my peanut butter. It was kind of like that. I saw a tweet this guy Rob put out, and he was like, look, I want to do a podcast. I know all the technical stuff, but I can't lead a show personality wise. And then I was like, hey man, I want to do a podcast. I'm very much heavy on the personality. I just don't know shit how to run one. And it was a great match. Me and Rob did it for quite some time. You know Rob.
I do know.
Yeah. And that was pretty much it. It took about a little over a month to get it off the ground. But yeah, that's how it started. Over a tweet. I was drunk and perusing Twitter.
Isn't it crazy how a lot of these podcasting journeys for a lot of different people start with a tweet? Mine did too.
Yeah, man. Butterfly effect. Mind if I go off the rail a little bit?
Go for it.
Okay. So yeah, I was just talking about this last night. My wife and I were celebrating our 7-year anniversary, and we were in a Barnes and Noble. A Barnes and Noble at the South Point Mall in Durham, North Carolina, which is in relation to where I'm at physically right now, about an hour drives away, right? And I was like, listen, this is the craziest butterfly effect that I can trace back 10 years ago. If one little thing did not happen, we wouldn't be here right now. Okay. And I was like, it was me throwing a tantrum at the Pizza Hut I was working at the time. And I was like, look, and she was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I got fed up with the low pay as a cook. So I said, I want to wait tables. I waited a table. This woman that I waited on liked my service. She offered me a job at Wells Fargo. I started working at Wells Fargo and as a teller. And one of my interactions I had uh, was these two people, and they overheard that I had this fresh new girlfriend that Jessica, my wife now, but we're still really new. And they overheard that I wanted to do something special for her, so they suggested this nice Italian restaurant called Maggiano's, and I took her to that restaurant a decade ago, and we really liked it, and it was at the South Point Mall, and we never went back. I was now fast forward 10 years. I was trying to get into this restaurant called Lucky 32 in Cary, North Carolina. They happen to be closed on Mondays. I don't fucking know why. So Maggiano's, I was like, wait, I remember a place. This would be a nice callback. Let's go to Maggiano's. Well, now that we're old and we ate all that pasta, we actually have to walk it off and digest it. Where did we walk to? This random Barnes and Nobles. And I was like, look at this. It was like all due to me throwing a tantrum at a Pizza Hut a decade ago. Butterfly effect.
I really thought you were about to be like, oh yeah, that Italian restaurant is or the Pizza Hut is now the Italian restaurant. I really thought that's what the word was going.
No. Just, yeah, you heard it. I don't have to repeat it.
You do not have to repeat yourself. That is crazy though. Like if you really sit and think about specific things that could not have happened if one thing didn't happen. If I didn't tweet, what would I be doing right now? Nothing.
I have a dark version of that, like a really dark version.
Okay.
I've often wondered, like, what butterfly effects I may have triggered that has led to someone's death. Kyle. I really have. Like, have I crossed at a crosswalk and it disrupted someone's traffic flow, and then a half hour later they're on the interstate and someone swerves into them and fucking kills them and their whole family. Like, dude, I think about this shit.
Fucking Christ, Kyle.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you probably have linked
10 minutes into the episode and you're talking about it.
You've probably been linked to somebody's like untimely death. It's probably all of us. Butterfly effect, man.
See now, okay, random side story, and then I'm gonna get back to this. The other night, it was like 1:00. I live on like kind of a main road. I was, just brushing my teeth, whatever, about to get ready for bed, and I hear a motorcycle go by. No harm, no foul. I understand. I live on a main road. I hear motorcycles and trucks all the time. I hear a motorcycle, and then nothing, and then I hear another motorcycle and a lady screaming. I look out my window, because I can see the main road from my bathroom.
Oh, Jesus.
Bike was here, guy by the light. Maybe 10 feet. I'll save details because it's whatever. He was able to walk. Like, he was up and walking before the ambulance got back. He's lucky to be alive. But I witnessed that entire thing happen.
Oh, man. Motorcycle accidents are... Whew. Yeah.
Not fun. But, thanks for the dark tone in the beginning of the show. I really appreciate that.
Hey, man. I like to stand out.
That's why we're here. All right. So, you said SmackedRaw as a whole is going on its 3rd year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can't even try and calculate how many episodes there have been due to what used to be a recap for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and Dynamite, pay-per-views, prediction shows, games, whatever the hell has been
568.
568 videos on the channel.
568 official shows.
Okay.
Like podcasts. There was I'm probably gonna be way off just because I drank so heavy, and my memory shot. I don't drink, by the way, now. I'm really proud of that. Okay. But there was a period. Let's just say 6 months, 8 months. I don't think it was an entire first year, but there was a while where we weren't doing video.
Yeah, I did know that.
Yeah, where like there's I mean, if you go to our YouTube, we haven't curated much of it. We unfortunately we worked with a guy that was outed as a sexual predator, so those are pretty much the only episodes we took down were ones where he featured this fella. But other than that, you can still find all of our old shows, including, and there'll be nothing. There's no, it's just like a logo and the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Which a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
So 568-ish podcasts. What have been some of your favorite episodes, if you can remember any?
Dude, the first one that sticks, I mean, UWO. UWO is a gem.
Do you have a
have
specific UWO?
The Chicago, all Chicago.
That's what I
Was
like to hear.
yeah, it was all Matt. It was Matt Ritter, Vicente Delgado, and Benji Calavera.
Fucking
I believe. Yeah, I believe it was those three.
It was.
I want to say
because they bullied Vince. I remember.
Yeah, yeah. The dynamic of the show was just like the roast of Vince.
Basically.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. It was. I mean, yeah. That one sticks out heavily. And then everything that I did with Matt Vertigo, he's always a blast to be on. There's random episodes where the guys and I will have just great chemistry. But I mean, like I said, like that is always the first one that sticks out to be like just genuinely had a blast.
Mm-hmm. I think UWO Chicago was one of the first ones I watched before I was on one. Because I was like, I should probably figure out what the fuck this show is since he asked me to be on it.
Yeah.
And then I watched and laughed my ass off. That's still one I go back to every once in a while just because the three of them are hysterical together. Especially because it is the fact that like Benji's known Vince for so long, and I don't think at the time, or no, maybe it was, I don't know. It like, well, now Vince and Matt are co-hosts on Smacking It Raw, so like the dynamic has always been there with the three of them, and Benji's a pain in my ass, but that's neither here nor there.
But yeah, every now and then you get great chemistry. Like I like those shows when, because I take pride in that. Like, you know, I don't just take like the first three people that say, hey, I'm ready to do a show. In my mind, like I'll always have like a dynamic. So more often than not, the formula I'll stick to is I'll try to find some like one loudmouth. Let's just say it's a loudmouth, just like just somebody who's more assertive. Yeah. And then I'll try to bring on somebody that might be a little bit more deep in thought, and then maybe just somebody from my channel, you know, and we'll see how the dynamic goes. Sometimes it goes over like a wet fart. There's the Putting You Over episode, super controversial. It was the only, to this date, the only podcast where one of the hosts literally was like, yo, I'm walking the fuck out. Like, because where all the bullying was in good fun on the All Chicago one, it wasn't going over so well on the Putting You Over episode. And I think it was poor Bob was just not feeling it that night. So yeah, sometimes it hits, sometimes it don't.
Yeah, that's a rough one to watch or listen to. It's a little rough. So with, again, like these 568 podcasts you've done, any unexpected moments you can think of that happened while you were recording anything, doesn't have to be for SmackedRaw, that you can remember that made you laugh, like bust out laughing, like catch you so off guard that someone said something so out of pocket?
I threw my chair across the room and it tore my whole set down.
When did you do this?
So I had Matt Vertigo on. I was interviewing him. It's this chair. I have a lumbar support, but the chair, the back is not like secured. It's just insert. So I lifted the lumbar support and I guess I gripped the chair too much. And I literally just tossed the back of the chair. And if anybody's like new to seeing these bricks behind me, they're totally like faux bricks. It's just, yeah, they're fake. It's a vinyl backdrop. And the chair hit the bricks and ripped it down. And I just had to roll with the punches. Like, we joked about it. And then the rest of the episode is just like my barren wall. There's another show that I wasn't a personality on. I was producing, and I won't drop names, but this person was on the show, and they were hosting, and I was producing it, but I was like really sick, and so I was like, look, I'm gonna go rest my eyes for just like a couple minutes, and I'll be back to close the show down. Lo and behold, like I fell asleep, and this person who will not be named, and they were very new to podcasting, and they had a breakdown, and it was a whole experience. And I woke up in a cold sweat the very next morning. We had been live, not airing anything for like 8 hours. Yeah, and it was a huge mess. And to this day, I don't think I've ever felt so guilty about anything in my life.
You know what you brought up? Let's talk about the infamous incident here. I bring this up every once in a while, just for fun. He's talking about me, for those who can't get the fucking hint. He's talking about me. This was, oh god, a few months into me podcasting. And I didn't really understand OBS like I do now yet. Like, I think you taught me, but I still wasn't sure about, like... Or I don't think my computer could do it yet. Because then I ended up buying a gaming PC and everything worked wonders. But... So Kyle produced it for me. And it was a show I was doing with Kevin. I think it was just like... We'll say it was the Monday Night Raw recap. Because I think that's what it was.
And I think that's exactly what it was, yeah.
That's exactly what it was. And... So Kyle's just like, all right, text me 10 minutes before you're going to end the show. I was like, you got it. I do, but before I even do, I lose Kevin, because Kevin's internet decides to shit the bed. So I lose Kevin completely, and I'm like, oh no, Kevin can't join the call again, because I'm not the one hosting the Zoom. That's Kyle. Mind you, this is live on Twitch when we're doing this. I have people in the chat, specifically Matt, who's just like...
Matt Ritter.
God
bless Matt.
Literally. I think that's the reason, I first interacted with him, was because of that show. Because of that shit show that happened. And look where you're now. I basically co-host. So, Matt's like, you're okay, just finish the show, do whatever, and I have people calling Kyle, texting Kyle. I have everyone and their mother trying to get a hold of this man. I get no answer. I have a breakdown. I didn't cry on stream after the fact. I had a nice full breakdown. Because again, I was new, so I didn't know. And then Kyle calls me the next morning at like 8 a.m. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, dead asleep. I'm like, it's fine. I'm like, it's okay, it's not your fault, you were sick. And that is just, there's no evidence of that, in case anyone's trying to go fucking dig it up. There's
no, that shit got scrubbed from existence. Yo, I will say the sheer anxiety attack I had when I opened my eyes, and because it dawned on me instantly. And I mean, I am darting back and forth in my hallway, just like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. And I come in here, and I'm able to I'm able to see the show. Like I'm watching it, and I'm like skipping like every 5 minutes, and I'm just watching your demeanor just get worse and worse until you are just like broken. And I felt so bad. Fun fact, I think we just had like the 2-year anniversary of that.
Oh god. Probably.
Because I remember I bought you flowers, and it was my anniversary with my wife. So either A, it was my wedding anniversary and I bought you flowers, or B, it was our dating anniversary, in which case it took place in August. But either way, it was a day I was supposed to celebrate it with my significant other, and I bought another lady flowers. The hoops I can jump through sometimes.
Listen, which you didn't have to do, by the way, and I told you that after the fact.
Oh, yes, I did.
No,
yes,
you did
I
not.
did. To this, I will die on that hill. I needed to do more. Like, I should have had like a PT Cruiser, like a new vehicle for you in your driveway.
Yeah, that, oh, man. The PTSD I probably have because of that now. Anytime,
I bet you have never let anyone else produce your show.
Nope, this is all me. I do everything myself. Everything's OBS on my end. I don't let anyone else touch this. Like, Savannah does everything for her own show, and she sends it to me, and then I just put it up. So, oh man, I like try and forget about that moment, and then something like this brings it back up. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, what a time! But look where we are now. We're good.
Look at us now.
Who would have thought? Because I
Who
sure
would
as
have thought?
fuck didn't. At the time, I was just like, I'm never gonna podcast again. I quit. I'm done.
I wouldn't have blamed you. I wouldn't have
But I
blamed
was
you at
back
all,
like the
man.
next fucking show. But I was like, I'm not producing. I was like, Kyle, you have to be there. And that's true. You ended up being in the Zoom calls, but hidden for like the next like 3 shows until I could produce. Because we were like, you're not allowed to leave again.
No, I was like, I ain't taking that fucking chance. I learned that night, like when I go out like a light.
It's good to know. It's good information.
Fuck. See through a fucking hurricane.
So, other than podcasting, what else do you like to do? What are some of your other hobbies? You said you do not drink anymore, which, good job. Very proud of you.
Yeah, man. It's a special one to me, you know. I had to quit. Drank for 15 years. Wow. Yeah. And yeah, I just had to quit, man. It's actually crazy to me because like in my head, I always saw like a certain way that it was gonna happen. I was like, you know what? Because for one, I was drinking an unhealthy amount, like super unhealthy. I'm talking 4 to 5 fifths of tequila just for me, not shared, a week. Like my tolerance is so high that I just sit there and I could just drink, you know, and without blacking out or dying of alcohol poisoning. So in my mind, I knew it was gonna, like, one day it would come down to this. I was like, look, one day my wife is gonna tell me, look, you know, it's me and the kids or the booze. And I was like, that'll be the day I quit. And I was like, because I was like, that's the only thing I care about more than myself. And it wasn't that. I was really surprised. It wasn't that made me quit. I was so me and Jess were drinking. It was in January. It was actually it was 2 months, 24 days ago. Okay. But we were drinking like any other night, and we went to bed. Next morning, I got up. We have to get up in the morning because we have to get up at 6:30 in the morning because our son has school. Yeah. And so, but we ended up like oversleeping, and it was 7:00 when we woke up. Bus gets there at like 7:15. So we jump out of bed, fucking she's running, getting him dressed. I'm like cooking fucking Pop-Tarts. And we get his ass out of the door, man. He catches the bus, like crisis averted. And we were sitting down, going back to bed because we're fucking tired. We don't like to get up at 6:30. And Jess was like, she said like, I don't want to drink no more. And she wasn't like, she was like talking to me, but more like herself. Yeah. Like she had her back to me, and she was like, I don't want to drink no more. And I'm just sitting there. I'm not saying anything. I get like, she feels guilty, whatever. I've heard her feel bad about stuff before. But then she was like, I feel like a bad mom. And like Jess is like everything to me, man. Like my wife is I fucking wouldn't have nothing in this life without her. And it killed me. It fucking like wrecked me because like I look at Jess like just the epitome of a good human being. Like this woman goes above and beyond, like her work ethic and like the way she takes care of the kids. Like she works harder than anybody else I know. And I have like a 40-minute drive to work in the morning. I had to go and fucking crying thinking about it, but it wrecked me because I've always known that alcohol is like destructive, like to a person. You know, like when you do stuff, you hurt yourself, you know, like that stuff like that. It's self-destruction. But it was at that moment that the lesson was learned on my end that, like, she's an adult and she can do whatever the fuck she wants. I can't force her. I don't force her to drink or do anything like that. But you know, we as humans, we collectively influence each other. Like the people that we choose to surround each other with, we influence each other. We take little parts of each other that we enjoy and make it our own, and that's just that's how we interact as people. And so her drinking was picked up because of, like, a lot of it to do with me. That's because that's how she knew to hang out with me. And it was like, wow, like I had a part. I had a part in hurting her ego and making her self-image, like damaging her self-image. And that realization just hurt me way more than anything else, like ever, like I've ever done. And so, yeah, I quit that morning. I called her up. I said, no more. And right now, right now it's strong. I've quit drinking before. And when you are motivated, it's super easy, but and that's early. Like a lot of people with like addiction issues, granted, physical withdrawals or something, but they always think that like the beginning is hard. But when you find the right motivation, the beginning is actually pretty easy. Because you finally have stuff click in your head that you're like, I'm good, I'm solid, I'm this new person. It's down the road is the hard part. Because I'm about to be 3 months in. That's, to me, that's like a fucking weekend. Like it doesn't even feel like it's been a weekend to me. But like a year from now, there's ego. There's no ego when you're hurting, when you realize there's a problem. There's no ego. You're telling yourself, look, you have to change. And then a year down the road, though, you start telling yourself, I have changed. I'm stronger. That's when the real fight begins, because you have to keep your ego in check to know that, look, no, you're not. You're still the same. You're the same fucking person that can down 5/5 in a week. A year from now, I'm still that person. And that's when the real fight begins. But yeah, so I quit drinking, man. I quit. And honestly, I'm glad I did. I'm in my fucking 30s. I don't bounce back like from heavy nights anymore anyways. Like if I drink the wrong alcohol, I now have a 48-hour hangover anyways. So like I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, that's what the sun feels like early in the AM. That's what vitamin D is like. Wow, I'd never realized the benefit of just. Yeah, so I do old people shit now. Like I sit on the porch and watch my dogs like poop in the yard and stuff, and I enjoy it. That's my thing, man. That's my thing.
Do you still game at all?
Occasions. I don't. I like to. I have supposed to be doing WWE 2K22, and I keep putting it off. Like I was gonna play it today, and I put it off. I do game. Like if there's anything you're gonna catch me on, it's Rocket League, because I can pick up Rocket League. I can play it for like 20 minutes and then I can put it back down. But you've seen it. I got these two little kids. They run around. You know what I mean? Like, and if I'm in this office like during the daytime for more than like a half hour, I'm neglecting somebody, whether it be Jess, the kids, or something. And so it makes it difficult. But so I fit Rocket League in here and there. And then also my kids just got old enough where they can kind of play video games. So maybe like once or twice a week, we'll all play Smash Brothers on the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, we'll play that together. But I can't overdo it with them, man. They're like, their brains are like sponges. And when they just like soak up that like intensity for too long, they freak the fuck out when you take it away. You know what I mean? Like it's yeah. So it's a balancing act when it comes to that. But yeah, I play video games, but not as much, man. I'm old and boring when I'm not podcasting.
You're not even that old. Relax. Jesus. Everyone's like, oh, I'm old. You're only like in your early 30s. Relax.
I turned 34 like in a week. Like a week from today.
Early Jesus. 30s. Exactly. You're fine.
I lived. This is the last year of early 30s.
You know? Am I wrong though? Still early 30s.
Yeah. It's all right, man. I had a great anniversary. It helps like ease the stress of
Exactly.
Time moving forward.
I mean, I turned 26 this year, so.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
You really have nothing. You have nothing left to look forward to. 25 was last year because you had your insurance drop.
Yeah.
Now it's just 1 foot closer to the grave, man.
Can't wait.
That's all
So
it
excited.
is.
Actually, my 25th year of life was pretty fucking good, so I can't really complain. Even with like a pandemic happening, I think year 25, one of my best years. Not to brag, so I'm pretty proud of that.
There
26
you
is
go.
probably gonna suck. So we'll
No,
fucking
it's
see.
what it is. You very much like look in life. You very much get out what you put in.
Oh
If
yeah.
you know what I mean. Once you're like, not everyone is um privileged enough
Mm-hmm.
to, when they're kids, have people just blindly treat them fantastic. But oftentimes, like people that are privileged in life, living somewhere, like somewhat stable or beneficial, growing up here in America and not living like in the complete ghetto, like in a safe place. And I had like a halfway decent family growing up. So like every year people just for no fucking reason just treated me good because I was alive and I'm doing good and they remembered me. You know what I mean? You get to your 20s and then you realize like everybody, once you're an adult, everybody's kind of like focused on themselves. So you better put in the work, because if you don't do shit to keep these relationships healthy, nobody's going to reach out to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in a substantial way. Yeah. So as long as you keep being a rock star, Katie, yeah, you'll be fantastic forever.
Well, thanks. I mean, I started this when I was 25, so ShElite's now my child.
You
Turns
lead, baby.
turns 1 in August. Well, as it's being its own channel, like September, I think, is when the first episode dropped. So I'll have to try and do something fun for that.
Yeah, because She started on Smacked Raw.
Yeah, yeah. I think we did like 10 episodes on
Mm-hmm.
SmackDraw, and then I created this little bubble we got going on here now. My own little channel, if you will. Got a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
stuff
I love
underneath.
it, by the way.
Thank you. Really, really trying here. Really trying to do a bunch of different stuff. That's not all wrestling related, but this question is.
Okay.
So this is again. I asked everyone this. If you could have like a table for three kind of situation going on, so you can have a dinner with yourself and then three other wrestlers, dead or alive. Who are you picking and why?
Mm. Fucking dead or alive, right?
Dead or alive.
Eddie. I know. I mean, Eddie's always the easiest one for me.
I feel like a lot of people
Uh,
have chose Eddie in the past.
yeah, it's just yeah. He's super simple.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'd probably like to do yeah. So I'd love to do Eddie. I'd probably do Kurt Angle
Okay.
because I'd love to hear Angle's mentality of going like legit world athlete, like Olympian, and like soaking up pro wrestling. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I'd love to hear that. And then I'd also love to hear like what like from his perspective, what kept him around after he touched down in ECW and saw that crucifix angle, which almost kept him out of the business for ages, forever. So him, Eddie, Kurt, and then. Mm, Damn, that's a good question, man. It's a good question because there's like so many.
Yeah.
Um, hmm.
I was gonna say, yeah, this people usually get stumped on this one because they don't have it like off the top of their head.
Well, you know what? Off the top, I do have a third, but I keep telling myself no, and I guess I'll just push through. I'll say Benoit. I'd love to get into the mind of Benoit. Um, it's just weird because like, what are the rules to this? Is this did I bring him back to the dead after the murders, or do I bring him back? Do I sit him at the table at a young age before the atrocities? You know what I mean? Like,
So I think at one point, because I think when I interviewed Jizzy, she gave me like two sets of answers. um, I think Benoit was on like the one table, if you will, of like uh infamous people.
mm-hmm.
Um, So I mean, yeah, like it could be however you want, however they went out, just when they went out, just however you want it, how you remember them. But if you want to have like an honest conversation with somebody, then I would say like post
Mm.
things happening. So I mean, again, personal preference is whatever you would want. Like your dream, like you said, you're gonna talk to Angle about everything like that. Eddie, you can talk to about basically anything, and so it's
Well, Eddie would crack you up, yeah. Um, had you had this been like a year ago, like in the midst of like all the heavy drinking I was doing, I would also say like Flair, just because Flair, I would love, dude. The dude's got a billion fucking stories. I just don't know how many of them he probably remembers, but he also doesn't feel like a person that would fabricate him either. Like I don't think like Flair. Flair seems like he probably feels untouchable. So I feel like with Flair, you'd get like, I would assume, super honest takes from him.
yeah, that's putting it lightly.
Mm.
Not a
I
big
like
Ric
I
Flair
like
guy over here. Not a fan.
sent me a Flair shirt, man. I almost wore that tonight. No, man, like I like controversy too, though. I do. I love
I know you do.
controversy.
I know you do.
Yeah, I love it, man. So uh yeah, I just like to hear shit like that.
Okay. Um. So this can be about podcasting. This can be about anything in general. I always ask people any advice you would give to anyone watching or listening. Like I said, podcasting, life, whatever, whatever advice you want to give to the people.
Just do it, man. Just fucking whatever it is that you want to get done, do it and suck at it. Like be fucking terrible and be okay with being terrible. Um a lot of us, myself included, have there's things that we didn't do because either A, we didn't know how to get from point A to point B. We didn't have all the answers, and so we just didn't do it. Or B, we couldn't knock it out the park and be perfect um, right away.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a lesson that I'm learning as well. It's not like I'm a successful guru here, not Tony Robbins. Um, or anything of that nature, but I'm learning it with my kids. I get to learn life again, like through my children.
Yeah.
And because you hear insecurities in them and you want to be like their biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
And then oftentimes you find yourself like giving advice to kids, and you're like, wow, I should probably take my own advice. And that's like kind of like one of those things, I yeah, is just do it. Like whatever like passion you have or thing that you want to go out and do, just like I said, I guess you fucking just go do it and be horrible but have fun doing it and learn it and hone your craft. um there's somebody in particular I'm trying to really beat that into right now. There's somebody I know that he's in a dark place and he feels helpless because he's a victim of himself and then also of the surroundings that he's brought himself to. And he says he wants to get out, says he wants to leave and go somewhere, but he just doesn't know how he would leave those people behind and all this that. And the advice I want to give him is just, you just gotta fucking do it, man. Like just pick up and move, you know. Because if you put yourself in a slump, you put yourself in a slump and you convince yourself that you're not allowed to leave that slump, unfortunately you never will. Like you have to give yourself permission. And if sometimes, if that means some people around you get hurt, you know what, so be it. If they really care about you and they really love you, they'll see that you're doing it to benefit yourself, to make yourself a better human being, and they'll forgive you. They'll forgive you or they'll understand. um but oftentimes, that pulling that trigger is terrifying, especially if you have already gotten to a certain point in life and you just hitting the reset button. um it can be terrifying, but there's no better advice than I say, like fucking do it, man. If you feel like everything is crumpled around you, just fucking clean slate it, man.
Yeah. I I again, that's another thing that almost everyone has said in some iteration of that, of like, just do it. It's like, go out there, try it. If you like it, then you're obviously meant to do it in some way, shape, or form, and then kind of go from there. Because nobody does something and they're perfect right off the bat. If they are, they're
Mhm.
superhuman, which incredible. But since we do it, podcasting, for example, I guarantee you go back to your first episode, it's terrible.
Mhm.
I know damn well mine is, because my internet died on me halfway through the show and we were live and I didn't understand and it was terrible. It was an awful time.
There's one more piece of advice though that I think is equally as big,
Okay.
but oftentimes you this one's a little bit more overlooked. People don't really. Uh, I've seen so many people fall into this trap and then they don't even learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
So probably equally as big as advice as I could give to other people, just like what we just went over there, um, is always look for toilet paper before you shit. Every time. Please do it. The last thing you want to do is be dropping a deuce and you reach over and now you got to do the walk of shame and get the doo-doo on the butt and everything. You can't do it, man. Always just look for it. Just do a little bit of prep work. I promise you, it'll enhance your life.
You're an ass. I really thought it was gonna be like a super heartfelt thing.
Oh, believe me, dude, it is heartfelt, man. We've all fell victim to that, but yet somehow a lot of us still don't learn. Putting it out there, I'm making people aware. I'm spreading awareness.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. So, your life right now, you said you're about to be 34.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to write an autobiography about your life to this point, what would be the title of it and why?
Okay, so that one's fucking what?
You're writing an autobiography about yourself, about your life.
Yeah.
You gotta give it a title and tell me why you give it that title.
Okay, so autobiography is just about my life, you
Yes.
know. Um love unconditionally.
Okay.
Like just love unconditionally, man. You the reason why is like a lot of other my peers, a lot of other people I know, we don't always get handed the deck that we want. We
Mm-hmm.
don't get handed the cards that we want, and a lot of us can be resentful and be angry and stressed and hateful.
Mm-hmm.
And I was no I was no different, man. I don't I joke so fucking much to the point it's infuriating to some people around me. But that was my coping mechanism I developed growing up. I've told you in the past. I had by the time I was 18, I lived in 40 different homes, over 40.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped trying to fucking count after 40. Um, went to excuse me, 9 different middle schools. I went to 3 different schools every year and stuff. And so, as a kid, it's normal. You don't know. You know what I mean? You're living life. You're just going through life. And then so lo and behold, by the time I get to young adulthood, I'm not I'm where I want to be at in life. I can't focus. I dropped out of school. Now, granted, I went back and got my high school equivalency.
Mm-hmm.
I went back and got my diploma a year later after I dropped out. Um, but anyways, my life was very tough, and I was angry. I was angry at the people that I lived with. I was angry at the people that I was surrounded with, and I learned that carrying around all that hate and anger just felt god awful, man. And not to mention it ruins you. And so I do believe if you try to love those around you unconditionally, man, I still get fucking angry. I still get mad and stuff, and I still want to talk shit, and I still feel like that stuff. But I tell myself, you know, a lot of the times now when I get angry, a lot of the times, you know, when all that, I don't have some like religious proverb or anything like that. I literally just say, look, it ain't worth the negative energy.
Yeah.
So just you know, fucking the people in the South have a really dirty phrase, one of the meanest fucking phrases. And I believe it's kind of like this lesson, and it's bless their heart, man. They say bless their heart out here, and they just mean you're fucking dumb. But what they're doing is in a way they're putting positivity out there,
Yeah.
and it helps that person. That person now has said their piece, and they get to go on about their day.
Exactly.
And it was a nice way to say you're fucking stupid, but I'm gonna still treat you kindly, you know. And that's it, man. And that's what I try to do. That's what I try to do now. You know, there's people that make me mad. And one of the weird things that I do is I try to send them like a happy message. Actually, in the morning, I send like a little video. I said, look, crush it in life. You're gonna do fucking fantastic things. Go crush it. And this person may not talk to me. They may not talk to me, but once every couple months, and it hurts me because they're not talking to me. But I put that kindness out to them because that's all I can do now. And it helps my soul. It helps me let go of some of that resentment of like, yo, like why, you know, like why aren't you talking to me? Why, you know, why aren't you listening to this advice and stuff? And so but I put them I can't force them to. I can't force them to, and I can't blow up this person's phone all day long. I can't blow it up and get angry they're not talking to me because now they're literally doing nothing, and I'm carrying negative energy, and I'm not going to be able to move forward in my life. So you love unconditionally. I send a happy message to them. It's kind of like me putting that energy out to the world, and then it lets me focus on myself and go forward. And so I'm trying to apply those positive things. And that's how I come up with the title, KB. That's how I come up with it.
I like it. Yeah, it makes sense. Like you explained why, and I think it's a damn good title. I've had people like describe like the book covers in their minds too, and I love how. It's one of the reasons I love having those questions is because the way people think and how they create their answers. Some people take it from like a specific part of their life. You take it from like your entire life, and it's just refreshing to see people's different perspectives of different things. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I love that, honestly.
Appreciate it. No, it's a good question, man. It's good. It's really good.
So you kind of talked about everything that SmackedRaw's doing right now, but future plans. What do you guys have coming up? What are you going to be on? What's going on with SmackedRaw in the future? The next like month or two.
Well, like I said, we got the Buff Bagwell stuff coming up. That's probably the biggest news coming out. Is we got that interview with Buff Bagwell. Will's gonna crush it. I'm actually leaving this show to do another show with Will, where we're gonna talk about our favorite wrestling video games. Which, you know, I might not be doing much gaming right now in my life, but I played plenty of video games when I was younger, and I loved wrestling games. So I'm actually really excited to go down that avenue. We're trying to do the YouTube shorts. We've learned that on YouTube, which is an avenue we're trying to grow, you get more views. Like it's almost like a surefire thing to get views. And I'm setting some feelers out there to bring a couple other shows under the SmackedRaw banner. I can't drop any names yet because no ink has been put to paper, but I'm really excited for one in particular. I'm still in the whining and dining phase, though. Okay.
So what you're saying is you'll tell me when we're done recording.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know who I'm working on.
See, this is why I love the show, because I get scoops after the fact. So thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, we are looking to add more shows. Like if there's a more broad answer. Is we're looking to expand the brand, because like I mean if you turn it to a channel and they only have 3 shows, there's not too much variety, so we want to get some more. And so yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on getting some more people.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I'm actually very excited to hear who you got feelers out for after the fact. Alright, Kyle, so it's been about like an hour of me asking you questions. Now it's your turn. Do you have any questions for me? Anything you want to know? Lay it on me.
Why'd you leave us, Katie?
Is that actually your question?
No.
It can be. I'll answer it if you want me to.
Well, you've already answered it. You've told me personally. So unless your answer changed, I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just I wanted to go out on my own and kind of, like I said, create this brand that is ShElite. Because as I've like been on Twitter more recently, I realized like there is quite a few like female driven wrestling podcasts out there, but there's not a lot. So if I can do one that's solely women and like women's wrestling, and like I have my co-host Savannah, love her to pieces, but then having like this show and then like in the crowd and like bringing in other stuff that isn't wrestling, like because yeah, we all love wrestling, but it's not the only thing we all love. So that's why I like
Very
doing
true.
stuff like this. So yeah, that is why I left. There was no spitefulness or anything. It's just I wanted to be a big kid and go out on my own.
No, man. Yeah, no, I know, I know, I know. I was kidding with you. How about I'll ask you one of the more popular internet questions that seems to get buzz. I'll let you answer it. Okay.
Okay.
So this is one of the more like featured questions that I see all over the internet. People give certain reasons. Um, you're offered, let's say, $10 million, right? But
Okay.
if you take it, there is a magic slug that will pursue you relentlessly, and if it touches you, you will die. Couple rules: this slug will hop into cabs, it will hop into airplanes, it also can travel through walls, so you couldn't like just put yourself in a bubble for the rest of your life. So this thing, you get $10 million, but you have death just slowly inching towards you, and you never know quite where it is because it's a little slug. Would you take the money knowing that thing is going to be pursuing you for the rest of your life?
No, I would not. First, I have so many questions about this. Why the fuck is this a question on the internet right now?
Dude, it's super. Dude, this is a. I see this thing pop up. So many people giving their answers.
I have never heard this question before.
No, you
Um,
don't. You don't. You couldn't outrun a slug.
I I could realistically, but I wouldn't want that constant like it's near thing in my head. Like, I can't.
So that's a real thing too. That is a real thing. Knowing that, oh, there's something pursuing you at
Yeah.
all times.
No,
Yeah,
I don't
man.
like that. I mean, cool money, but I can make that if I try hard enough. I could make something like that. Not that number, but no, I don't want a fucking magical slug chasing me the rest of my life and giving me a death before I think I need to go. Like, fuck that. What the fuck? It's definitely the first time I've been asked that question. So, you have any other questions for me about anything?
Mm.
Hmm.
Why is it okay for girls to wear men's underwear?
I don't know. Comfort.
Okay, I'll take it.
I mean, I have a lot of like girlfriends who end up just like they sleep in just like men's boxers because they're comfortable and they're loose and they're not like form fitting. So I'll just base it off of that, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, no, I was just wondering.
Do you have any other questions for me?
Yeah, I'm sure I can come up one. Um, how many 9-year-olds do you think you could take in a fist fight
I'm
simultaneously?
not fighting any children. If I wasn't okay, I'll put it in the perspective of if I was a 9-year old, how many other 9-year-olds could I fist fight?
No, grown adult.
No.
Adult.
No. I'm not putting that out there that I am an adult who would smack around 9.
Man, because I could wreck probably fucking like 30 of them, right? Because they just drop. Like all you gotta do is hit them one time, they'll drop. You know, there's like no 9-year-old that's gonna take like a punch to the face and like wipe the blood off their mouth and then keep coming. No, they're gonna stop. They're gonna like curl up in the fetal position. So you kind of just keep circling back and you just fucking just drop them one after another. So really, it's more of a question about stamina, I think, in that case. And I think with my fat ass, I'd probably get through like probably 30 to 50 before I get too tired. And maybe like the first batch is like getting up.
I can't believe these are the questions you're asking me with. You can ask me literally anything and you're just like,
yeah, but these are the ones that come off the top of my head.
There's nothing that has been like you've been itching to know or wanted to know.
You didn't tell me like, hey man, take some time to do some introspective thinking. And like, no, these I told you, like, this is how I'm conditioned. I'm conditioned for like.
Well, like I told you before, like everyone comes into this blind, and then they always are just like they'll ask me like one question, and then they're like, "Oh, well, actually, I was wondering about that." There's like nothing you want to know about the shows or anything. You're just gonna.
Would you do it on a show?
Stop. Stop. Oh my god. This is not how I was expecting this portion of the show to go. At all.
My bad. Sorry. My apologies.
It's fun. There's been colorful conversations on here before. But did you have anything else? You don't have to ask me anything else.
What do you think about Elon Musk buying Twitter?
It's weird. I don't know. I've seen a lot about it, but then like don't really understand a lot about it either because I don't look into shit like that because I'm kind of just really using the platform.
It's really weird. Like there are people that are like on both sides, like super offended by it, and then like there's other people who like feel they need to defend a billionaire. Like
I just think that money could have been spent doing other things to like help the world, but not to buy fucking Twitter. That's what I think. That's my opinion on that.
I mean, he's not the only one that could feed the world. You know, you got Jeff Bezos and Soros guy. You know what I mean? Like all these
a lot
guys
of them. 100%. Yeah. I'm not saying just like feed the world. Like to just help the world in general. Any of them.
Do you think he's buying it so people can start tweeting the N-word more?
Stop.
I've seen that out there. I've seen that as like an excuse. You're like, man. All right, Katie. I made you uncomfortable. I apologize. I'll stop. I'll back off. There it was. I was wondering where the break point was. Okay, my bad. I'm a guest on your show. I should behave better.
It's okay.
How is ShElite going?
Thank you.
Is it just you and Savannah still, or have you brought anybody else on? Are you working with anybody?
So it is still just Savannah and I. So like we have ShElite Showcase, which is just the weekly recap.
The Thursday show.
Yes, the Thursday show that we do every Thursday live. I'll do my pitch after the fact. So we have that. I do this. I think this is episode like 13. I think I've done like 13 of these, something like that. I'm just trying to get comfortable with like my friends and like people I know first before I like move on to other people. And then like in the crowd is something like that's gone through like a few different iterations already. It's like a collab show I've been trying to do. Like I have a Chicago version of that, and I have like the first episode of that where like the first episode Reek showed up late. The second episode Benji showed up 2 hours late, and it was a mess. But then I kind of turned it into a game show because it was Matt's idea. It's like the Newlywed Game, so it's like a Know Your Co-Host thing. So I've had 2 of those so far.
Oh, I'd love to do something like that with RN.
Yeah, I'll definitely try and get you guys on to do that because I'll just have to think of questions.
Yeah, dude. Me and RN, like we fucking click now. Like that's my dude.
Good.
Like, yeah, I love it, man. Me and RN, yeah, some ride or dies. We used to consider ourselves like the Will and Jada of podcasting, but like I don't know if that's like a good example.
I don't
nowadays.
think you should probably use that one anymore.
That's pretty toxic.
Just
Really
maybe.
toxic.
And then Savannah has her own show, New Japan. So she has like 2 episodes out of that, I think. Working on a third. I let her. She has full reign on that. I just have her put in her Google Drive, and I uploaded everything for her, just because it's just easier for me to do all of that stuff. Plus, I don't know shit about New Japan, so I let her do that because that's something she wanted to do. But yeah,
Is she salty? Yeah. Actually, let me ask you a question. It actually is topical. Is she salty about the merge show, or is she excited for it?
The like Forbidden Door show.
Mm-hmm.
To my knowledge, she seems excited because she loves both shows. So I think she really just wants Okada there. I think that's like the main thing.
Yeah. Okay. I have a friend who's I'm not going to name drop her because like she got dragged. But she's a big fan of New Japan, and she's always been kind of like iffy with AEW. She doesn't actively like go out and say she hates AEW, but she is like fucking dead against it, man. Like she thinks it is just a terrible decision, which I thought was weird. I was like, oh, I thought you'd love to see them like mix it up with another company. But
I think I know who you're talking about. I won't name names either.
I promise you do. I promise you know who I'm talking about.
I do. Yeah. But no, I don't really see an issue with it. I mean, it gets an American audience to look at New Japan more. So I look at that as like broadcasting your name more. I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do with this show. I don't know if they're gonna do like one person from AW versus a person from New Japan. I don't know how the fuck they're gonna do it. It was announced last week.
I have a feeling it's gonna be a combination of like AEW versus New Japan, whether they be singles, most likely a lot of tags.
Yeah.
But then I think we'll also get like New Japan versus New Japan and AEW versus AEW. I feel like it'll be like just like a hodgepodge, you know. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be straight up AEW versus New Japan. But I do believe the overall story that they're telling is like the Undisputed Elite and Bullet Club, kind of being the big bad guys of the event. Mm-hmm. You know, so I'm excited for it, dude. I think it's gonna be pretty dope.
I mean, wrestling's wrestling. I love AEW, even though it kind of sucks sometimes. And I know a little bit about New Japan, so if I see the people I know, that's cool. If I see people I don't know, then cool. I get to see new wrestlers. And I feel like Savannah is excited about it because it is 2 companies that she really loves. So I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, I just want to see Aubrey Edwards interact with Red Shoes. Like I want to see that interaction at some point, man. I want to see like a match going off the rails, and then they kind of just take over. You know, kind of like the old days where it was like the SmackDown ref and the Raw refs would go at it a little bit. I want to see that.
Possible.
While we were sitting here, I over here I pulled up your 1-year anniversary for the ShElite showcase is technically July 1st. You did 9 episodes on our on Smacked Raw, and then you have a pizza cutter spot in women's roster then and now. That's a cool one. Happy Birthday, Katie. Was the title of another episode. My favorite though, Cool Nails and Tiny Hands. That was a great title. I like that one.
I'm 99% sure that was Matt's idea because Tiny Hands was his nickname for John Silver.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Wow, July 1st. Yeah.
July 1st will be now. So technically, the year anniversary of the debut episode. I don't know if you're going to count like a separate anniversary from the launch of your own channel.
I'll probably end up doing both. And then my 2-year anniversary is in August, too. Which is... I've been doing this for 2 years already. Jesus.
Yeah, man.
What the fuck?
Remember I gave you like a legit job interview over the phone?
Yeah, I literally had like a Zoom interview. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
We did a phone call.
Did we?
We did a regular call. Like, yeah, like I called your cell. You gave me your number and everything. I could have been a murderer.
I mean, I wouldn't have cared. You're in a different state. You weren't gonna find me.
That you knew. Maybe that you knew. I know where you are. You know what's fucking weird is you gave me your location on Snapchat every now and then, but you're like the only person. So I'll see like just like a little Katie icon pop up every now and then on the Snap map.
I'm only in. I don't go anywhere. It's mainly Pittsburgh 9 times out of 10. So I'm just somewhere, just out and about. I don't really go on Snap a lot either. Jesus.
Well, I think what it does, like, because I don't check the notifications. So I think what it does is if I get like a notification and I don't check it, like probably like 2 or 3 more times, it'll pop up, like to just keep reminding me, like, oh, Katie did a story. I'm like, okay, I know, whatever, man.
I think there's probably
trying to
something
watch
you
porn.
can go into your. Jesus. Huh, you're funny. You thought I wouldn't hear that.
Almost slipped that in there.
Nah, I got good ears. We're good. Jesus. Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about? Ask me. Whatever.
I mean, there's a lot, dude. Like for real. But I don't want to like hijack your show. What I want to do.
We still got time, but we're not.
Yeah. No, like save a little, leave them wanting more. Maybe we'll revisit someday, or maybe it doesn't have to. You don't have to be like on Inside the Mind of again, because you can't. It sounds like you have a formula that doesn't really lend itself to have the same person on multiple times relatively quickly. Mm-hmm. But I'd love to be a guest on your show at some point and talk about the time I stole a Mercedes and drove it across Maine. Because I almost did it when you did the autobiography question. I was like, yo, this would be, I could talk about this, but that's more or less like a coming of age story, not so much an autobiography.
I mean, that was your coming of age story. It's your autobiography. It would have counted.
But you said your life. You said your life, where this is a very isolated 2 weeks of, there was a car stolen, running from the law, impromptu ballet classes, staying in abandoned mansions, and then hiding out in like a pedophile's house, a female pedophile, by the way, who lived across the street from a police station. And yeah, there was a lot in that 2 week for like my 15-year-old self that I had to experience. Yeah, man.
And I've heard the majority of the story, I believe. At least like some of the key points, or most of the key points I've heard before.
I remember trying to tell you one time, and I was way too liquored up, and so it was kind of disjointed. Now I can kind of remember it chronologically. There was a lot of pieces missing. I do know of like a lot of pieces that I was like, oh yeah, I remember finding out there was police at my house, like while I was on AIM. Like I had messaged my brother on, like, I showed up at like an ex-girlfriend's house, and I was like, hey, can I use your computer? Because back then we didn't have cell phones. Back in the day. And he was like, yo, where are you? There's police here right now. And I was like, bitch, I'm in Massachusetts. I was not in Massachusetts. But maybe I'd like to come on. I'll talk about it, man. I'll talk about some other day. Whether you want. Maybe. If you want to.
Maybe we can try and work that question into the Know Your Co-host thing with you and RN.
I was thinking, we'll have a fun time, man. We'll smoke cigars.
Who's this we?
We'll do some DMT, some drugs.
Not.
I said I don't drink anymore. I didn't say I won't do drugs. Okay,
there's
a difference.
I do not do drugs. I drink.
I'm just kidding, man. Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs.
No. Yeah, I just realized, like, you know me. Other people don't know. I don't do drugs. I don't. I'm a boring family man.
You're not boring. You are a family man, though. You are a family man. Alright. Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't have anything left.
You really tried.
I was trying to pull something out there.
I give you props for trying to derail us, and you failed, because I know how to I know how to keep this one on the tracks. Unlike any
You
time I would do a smack draw and shit went off the
you
rails
worked
fast.
with Kevin. You worked with Kevin. You have some practice. I'll give you
I worked
that.
with Kevin for the majority of the year I was there. A lot of the time solo, because you said, no, I want to do Dynamites now, and took. Or no, this was before that. And then once you said, no, I want Dynamites, then you took Kevin, and then I got RN. And then you
That's
stopped
right.
doing Raw recaps, and then I got stuck with Kevin by myself.
Raw was the fucking worst at the time, man. It was the worst decision trying to recap it like right after the show went off the air too. Like that format was tough. You have to get paid for that format to work. Like you have to be paid to bring the effort. When you're not getting paid to recap like Raw and all those shows every night, like immediately after they go off the air. I mean, we went through it. That's why we're a fucking channel now and not the Smacked Raw recap podcast anymore. It burnt you the hell out.
I don't even do recaps anymore. Like,
Mm-mm.
I literally talk about news and rumors, women's wrestling history. Savannah and I talk about our wrestlers of the week, and then I come up with a question that her and I talk about, and that's it. Because I'd had a year worth of recaps, beat for beat recaps for the first half of the year, which was the one of the worst decisions I've ever done in my entire life. Um, and now if I want to do recaps, I just hop on over to SmackedRaw because I'm basically a co-host there.
How frequently are you on this show? Because if like the way as an outsider, it feels like you're on it like you're just the like unofficial co-host. Like you're on it more than you're not.
So that's kind of how this whole thing started. Towards the end of last year, Vince called off a lot, just for whatever. And I typically am not doing anything at like 1 a.m. on a Friday night. So, Matt would hit me up a lot, and I would just come on the show. Oh my god, I can't believe you still have that fucking shirt. Oh, Jesus.
Use this as a thumbnail.
No, I have a thumbnail I do for these.
Okay.
Um, so I think it was like the anniversary show or something we did earlier this year. I was just like, you know what? I'm basically a part of the show. I think it was a little after that I told Matt the one time I was just like, I'm the Pornhub Poppy now. Like this is my thing. It's me, not Vince. And so it has now become a competition between Vince and myself on who will get the nickname Porno Poppy at the end of the year on who has been on the most shows. And right now we are tied.
Oh wow. So it's not based off of like preference or anything like that. It is just who showed up to work more.
Basically.
You get yeah. It's a title that you literally earn
Mm-hmm.
by working for it. Okay, no, I like that, man. I like
Yeah.
that.
And Vince was a little upset at first, but then Reek, who gave Vince the nickname, was like, nah, chaos. Let there be a competition. So,
Okay, wait. Actually, you know what? Now that we've been talking a little bit, I do got a question for you. Explain the cafeteria.
okay. So, that is just a group chat of a few different podcasts. It's kind of like this. It was kind of like the Smacked Raw fam group chat thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the same people, just like Young Kings, myself, Matt, Getcho, Jizzy, and like
Mm-hmm.
Benji, and like just talking about whatever. It's literally just become like a little community,
Mm-hmm.
basically. But if like we ever need like a co-host for something, like we can just shoot it in there and be like, who's available, and then someone can hop in. Like that's kind of how the whole thing started with like me helping with smacking her off so much. Is that so? It's kind of just like a good core group of people, and like we share like they talk about like their art and stuff like that. I don't art, but it's just this little community that kind of grew out of Twitter, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And solid people, love them all. They're great. Um, and it's just like this little. It's like basically there was the SmackedRaw chat, and then basically like once that ended, it became like the cafeteria because it was like some of the same people, basically.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to talk about that more off the air because I have some funny anecdotes about that. I'll share with you behind the scenes stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you got me invested about it now.
There's a couple things. There's a couple things I want to talk to you off the air. I can't. I can't talk to you like on the air like about it.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, that's about it, man. I just wanted to give you a chance to plug the cafeteria. It came to my mind. I was like,
do,
oh yeah,
I do
that's
every
something. That's
show.
something
I
that
do
she
every
does.
show. They get a nice little shout out every once in a while, especially if like I have one of them on. Like when I had like Jizzy on, it was like big shout out to the cafeteria because like Jizzy's a big component of that. So it comes up occasionally. But yeah, thank you again, Kyle, for doing this with me. Um, Tell the people where they can find you specifically, like socials,
So
whatever.
yeah, we have you can find me like on Twitter at the Kai Tai Show. I occasionally will tweet it. I go through spurts. There I'll be quiet for like a week or two, and then I'll like be just addicted for like a week. I don't know. You follow the show, which is going to be a little bit more active at SmackedRawPod, youtube.com/SmackedRawPodcast, twitch.tv/SmackedRaw. You can find us anywhere like audio stuff is around. We have a Patreon. You can support the show over there. Still got that up and running, and then we even have a PayPal, man. If y'all just want to donate, a couple bucks here or there, works out. It actually was fantastic, man. The Patreon, PayPal, the fruits of their labor have shown through some of your studio equipment, Savannah's over the time, more recently, Kevin's, Will, the bot spots and chair shots, his whole setup, supported by the Patreon. You guys literally have helped, like our patrons have literally helped the production value of our shows, which has in turn helped the quality of our shows. So yeah, you find all that stuff there. And then also check out our Discord. Discord's it's going to be a lot of fun. Trust me. One of my favorite things I've done is because I can't do the UWO show, the Unpopular Wrestling Opinions, all the time. They're kind of like my little baby that I like to do like about once a month.
Yeah.
I give little snippets of it on our Discord. There we have our own Discord channel where I drop a UWO, like I'll drop a unpopular wrestling tweet in it and start the discourse there. And then it's fun because if you're in the Discord, you essentially are getting previews to upcoming shows. Just without knowing exactly who the guests are going to be. So I thought that was a pretty cool little dynamic for our Discord.
Yeah, that's a smart idea.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at KatieWrestling13, the Linktree in my bio to take you all things ShElite Showcase, twitch.tv/ShElite Showcase. We have a YouTube channel. Please go subscribe. We have all the videos up there. Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, if you want to listen to your podcasts. There's an Instagram page, too. I actually think I have it up to date now. I think that's just at ShElite Showcase. I have merch coming very soon. I bought a website. There's a lot of things happening. I have like the sample coming to me soon before I make the shirts public. It's because I want to see what it looks like on the shirt first before I release that shit to the public. So I think that's coming this week. And then so ShElite Showcase is the weekly recap. Myself and my co-host Savannah do. Inside the Mind of, obviously, the interview series that we are doing right now. There's been like 13-ish episodes. Go check those out. In the Crowd is also up. The latest one with Matt and Vince is out. We just did that last week, so I got that up. And I'm usually if I'm not on this channel, you can catch me on SmackedRaw because I'm basically a co-host without being a co-host. But yeah, thank you again, Kyle, for doing this. We finally got it done. after months of you pestering me about it. So, yeah. Thank you guys
I wasn't
again.
going to go away.
You weren't going to go away. And we were going to get it done. I just lost motivation for it for a minute. So, it's all good. Thank you guys again for watching, listening, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.